On Monday, September 29th, the nurse and former reality star posted an alarming TikTok image showing what appeared to be Kate's arm hooked up to IVs with a heart monitor on her finger.
At 50, Kate Gosselin's life looks nothing like the glamorous reality TV dream once broadcast to millions of viewers. Once celebrated as a household name, adored for her resilience and family-centered image, her story has since spiraled into a tale of loss, loneliness, and unimaginable struggles.
We had our first ultrasound at 6 weeks and there were 7 babies to see how they had progressed. In between that time, the 7th baby stopped growing.
Behind the cameras and tabloid headlines lies a journey filled with painful choices, fractured relationships, and a heartbreaking downfall that few ever expected. The tragedy of Kate Gosselin today is more haunting than anyone could have imagined. Here's what really happened. A cry from the hospital bed. On September 29th, the world witnessed a version of Kate Gosselin few had ever seen before. The woman once known for her strong will, rigid schedules, and commanding presence on reality TV revealed a far more fragile side. Instead of the polished image her audience was used to, Kate shared a raw, unfiltered photo from a hospital room. Her arm was hooked to IV lines, a heart monitor clung to her finger, and the sterile glow of hospital lights cast an unsettling shadow around her. It was not glamorous. It was not staged. It was real. Alongside the photo were words that carried both fear and courage. Kate wrote, "Please pray for me tonight and tomorrow. I will be fine, but I'm scared and would appreciate your prayers. Thanks, guys." The caption she added cut even deeper. "Emergencies don't care about schedules. Please pray instead." For a woman who had built much of her public life around control, order, and structure, the irony was striking. Here was Kate, who once orchestrated every moment of her children's lives with precision, facing a crisis that could not be managed by calendars or routines. This was not about rules or discipline. It was about survival. The moment the image and words appeared, an overwhelming wave of support followed. People from across the globe rushed to her page, filling the comments with prayers, blessings, and words of strength. Some admitted they were stunned, while others revealed how touched they felt seeing her speak so openly. For years, Kate had been known as strong, even unbreakable. But this moment revealed another side. It wasn't polished or guarded. It was raw, tender, and strikingly human. In showing her pain, she also reminded the world that even the strongest hearts sometimes tremble, and that honesty can create deep connections. Then came the moment that truly revealed her inner battle. Responding to her supporters, Kate wrote, "I have to call upon that strength I know I have deep down tonight." Those words were more than just an update. They hinted at the weight she was carrying, the fear she was confronting, and the fight that was bigger than what anyone could see in a single photograph. It became clear this was not just a medical emergency. It was also an emotional reckoning. The woman who once seemed invincible was admitting her fragility. The mother, the nurse, the public figure. She was, at her core, human, and humans get scared. September 29th marked not only a night in the hospital, but also a powerful reminder that even the strongest among us are not immune to life's sudden storms. And for Kate, the journey ahead was about far more than treatment. It was about courage, resilience, and the quiet strength that surfaces when the world is watching and when it isn't. Why was Kate Gosselin hospitalized? How severe is her condition? What kind of pain is she going through? Let's talk about the antecedent and details of her health. The unfortunate accident. Kate Gosselin, once a familiar face on reality TV and now working as a nurse, has revealed a shocking twist in her personal life. An accident so painful it left her hospitalized and completely transformed her day-to-day routine. On Tuesday, the 50-year-old mother of 8 shared during a TikTok live session that she had suffered what she described as a life-altering injury while playing an ordinary game of fetch with her 2 beloved German shepherds. What began as a quiet, ordinary moment with her beloved pets suddenly spiraled into a scene of agony Kate never expected. One second she was relaxed, and the next she was overwhelmed by searing pain so intense it rivaled her past struggle with kidney stones. Speaking with raw honesty, she admitted the accident left her screaming uncontrollably, producing sounds she barely recognized as her own. Her words paint a vivid picture of just how unbearable those minutes were. A nightmare unfolding in real time, turning a routine interaction into a memory marked by suffering, shock, and a haunting sense of vulnerability. When she arrived at the emergency room, doctors immediately ordered X-rays and a CAT scan. The results revealed something far more serious than a simple bruise or sprain. Kate had sustained a tibial plateau fracture, a severe break in the upper part of her shin bone where it meets the knee joint. The cause? Her energetic German shepherd, Maika, had barreled into her leg at full speed, delivering an impact powerful enough to shatter bone. What followed was no small procedure. Kate underwent a grueling 3-hour surgery to repair the break. Surgeons placed plates and screws in her leg to stabilize the injury, a reminder of just how severe the accident had been. Now, with her leg held together by medical hardware, Kate faces the daunting reality of being unable to bear weight on it for the next 3 months. For someone as active and independent as Kate, the road ahead is not just about healing physically, but also about adjusting to an entirely different way of life. She openly admitted to her fans that recovery would be tough, both physically and emotionally. Yet, in her usual spirit, she turned to her supporters for encouragement, asking them to keep her in their prayers as she navigates this unexpected chapter. The irony of the situation is striking. What started as a playful, everyday activity with her dogs ended with a serious injury, surgery, and a long period of recovery. It's a sobering reminder of how quickly life can change in a single moment. For Kate Gosselin, this accident has become more than just a medical setback. It's a life experience that underscores resilience, vulnerability, and the importance of community support. And as she continues to recover, one thing is clear. Kate isn't just fighting to heal her leg. She's fighting to regain her strength, her independence, and her everyday normalcy. What made the heartbreaking tragedy go viral? Her fame. How did she become so weak despite her fame? Let's delve into the details of Kate Gosselin's fame that got her health challenge on the headlines. From fame to fragility. The photo struck a nerve, not simply because of what it showed, but because of who Kate Gosselin is, or more precisely, who she once was in the public eye. For years, her name was almost inseparable from the hit reality show John and Kate Plus 8. She wasn't just a mother on television, she became a cultural figure who symbolized the unimaginable challenge of raising twins and sextuplets while the whole world looked on. Every tantrum, every bedtime battle, every exhausted sigh became national entertainment, turning her family's private life into a shared spectacle. What many forget is the enormous weight that came with such fame. Behind the ratings, behind the magazine covers, and endless tabloid headlines, Kate was forced into a role she never asked for, the strong one. Viewers didn't just watch her, they judged her. Some critics labeled her harsh, controlling, even unkind. Others admired her no-nonsense discipline, her determination, her refusal to crumble under pressure. No matter which side people fell on, one thing was undeniable. Strength became her defining image. Yet life after the cameras told a different story. When the spotlight faded, Kate did something few reality stars manage. She stepped back. She returned to her roots in nursing, working away from the chaos of celebrity life. She poured her energy into her children, who were growing older and needed stability more than publicity. For perhaps the first time in years, she began building a life that wasn't crafted for television or dissected by strangers, a life that was hers alone. That's why the recent hospital post felt like a punch to the gut for so many who had followed her journey. Seeing Kate Gosselin, not the iron-willed TV mom, not the disciplinarian who ran a household of 10 with clockwork precision, but the woman herself, suddenly vulnerable, was startling. The image revealed someone who looked worn, uncertain, even scared. It wasn't the Kate people were used to. And that contrast made it all the more powerful. For longtime fans, it was as if the mask had finally slipped. They weren't looking at the polished figure who carried the weight of 8 children on her shoulders under glaring studio lights. They were looking at a mother, a woman, a human being. Fragility, which had never been part of her narrative, was suddenly front and center. And in that moment, many realized something. Kate Gosselin had always been more than the role she played on television. She had been strong, yes, but like everyone else, she was also vulnerable. In a way, that glimpse of her humanity made her story even more poignant. Because if the woman who once balanced the chaos of 8 little lives can break, then perhaps strength has always been about more than never falling. It's about allowing yourself to be seen when you do. Before the accident, how has she been coping with motherhood? Will she be able to pull through after getting better? Let's dig into the details of the weight motherhood has placed on her with her 8 children. The lingering toll of motherhood. Weeks before her sudden hospital post that shook fans, Kate Gosselin had quietly revealed a painful truth that few had ever considered. On September 9th, she uploaded a short but striking video, one that peeled back the curtain on the lasting cost of bringing 6 babies into the world at once. In that clip, she spoke with striking honesty, not with tears or self-pity, but with the plain voice of someone who had carried a burden for far too long. "When I was pregnant with them," she began, "my bladder was pushed way down here, pressed over and over with the weight of 6 babies. Compressed, compressed, compressed. It lost its ability to do what a bladder is supposed to do. It lost its stretch, its elasticity, and ever since then, it has never been the same." It was a confession that stopped many viewers cold. For years, the world had watched her as the face of chaos and resilience, the sleepless nights, the towers of diapers, the non-stop needs of 8 children depending on her. But the cameras never captured this part, the hidden physical damage, the private health battles that came long after the spotlight dimmed. Her words revealed the side of motherhood that rarely makes headlines, the quiet, lifelong toll it can take on the body. It was not a complaint. It was a reality check, delivered in her calm but unflinching way. And yet, it also raised new and troubling questions. Fans who had once cheered her strength now found themselves worried. Could this be connected to the reason she had been hospitalized weeks later? Was this the breaking point after years of silent endurance? Or was something even darker hiding behind her sudden silence? What made her revelation even more powerful was the timing. She hadn't been active online for long stretches, often disappearing for months. So when she finally spoke, and chose to speak about something so personal, it carried unusual weight. It wasn't gossip, it wasn't drama, It was the raw truth of a woman who had lived through the impossible and was still paying the price. Her story reminded people that fame doesn't shield anyone from the quiet suffering of the body, nor does strength erase scars that never fully heal. Kate's life had always seemed like a whirlwind of extraordinary circumstances, but here, for once, she was simply human, vulnerable, fragile, and open about the hidden cost of survival. And as her followers replayed that video in light of her hospitalization, the questions only deepened. Was this admission a warning? A clue left in plain sight? Or had Kate, in her own way, been preparing the world for a truth she could no longer keep hidden? One thing was certain. The story of Kate Gosselin was no longer just about the past chaos of raising sextuplets. It was now about the quiet, enduring battle that had never really ended. What did fans do with Kate Gosselin's post that looked unusual? How did other fans react to it? How did she react to the heartfelt moment? Let's dive into the details of the prayers rained on Kate in the comment section of her post. The digital prayer circle. In today's world of instant communication, the bond between public figures and their audiences has shifted in ways our grandparents could never have imagined. News no longer creeps into newspapers or trickles onto television weeks after it happens. Now, one post, one update, one picture can travel across the globe in seconds, sparking conversations that cross borders, cultures, and time zones. That is exactly what happened when Kate shared her hospital post. It didn't simply appear on a gossip page or get buried in the entertainment section of a magazine. It erupted online, like a spark hitting dry wood, spreading with incredible speed and intensity. Within moments, millions of people knew, and even more began to respond. And the response itself was just as powerful as the post. What unfolded beneath her message was a tidal wave of support. Her comment section transformed into something that felt less like casual chatter and more like a living, breathing prayer circle. People who had never met Kate poured their hearts into words. Some typed blessings, short and simple. Others invoked Jesus' healing power, asking for her comfort and recovery. Many reminded her, gently but firmly, of the resilience she had shown in the past, urging her to remember her own strength even in this frightening moment. It was impossible to miss the contrast. For years, Kate had been placed under a microscope. She was judged, criticized, and sometimes ridiculed in the harsh light of national television. Back then, compassion was rarely extended to her. Instead, opinions and judgments were tossed around like confetti. But this time was different. Instead of cutting words, there were kind ones. Instead of judgment, there was empathy. Instead of criticism, there was care. And perhaps that is what made Kate's response so moving. She didn't dismiss the outpouring. She didn't hide behind celebrity distance. Instead, her words were humble and real. "I appreciate your prayers." Those 4 words carried weight. They were not the polished statement of a publicist. They were the voice of a woman who, in her hour of fear, chose to lean on the strength of others. She allowed herself to be vulnerable, to admit that she needed help, and to accept the comfort being offered. In a way, her post and the reaction it sparked revealed something larger than her personal struggle. It showed the new power of digital communities, the way strangers can become a support system, how compassion can travel through screens, and how even the loneliest moments can be softened when people choose to stand together. Kate's hospital post wasn't just an update. It was a reminder that kindness is still out there, and that sometimes the loudest noise online is not cruelty, but love. Before the recent tragedy, how has Kate Gosselin's life been? What challenges has she been navigating? What has she been making headlines for? Let's find out. The tragic fall of a reality TV mother. Kate Gosselin's story is one of dazzling highs, followed by painful and very public lows. Once, she was celebrated as the unstoppable mother who managed to juggle twins and sextuplets while letting the world peek into her home through reality television. Today, her name is often linked not to fame and admiration, but to scandal, bitter legal disputes, and accusations that cut straight to the heart of her role as a mother. Her journey into the spotlight began with John and Kate Plus 8, the reality show that captivated millions. Viewers tuned in each week to watch how she and her then-husband, John Gosselin, navigated the chaos of raising 8 children under one roof. It was a show that turned her into a household name, and for a time, she seemed unstoppable, a symbol of discipline, energy, and the kind of parental resilience that both amazed and unsettled audiences. But even before the fame, Kate's path was marked by tragedy. She revealed in her own writing that she had once miscarried what would have been her 7th child, a loss she described as repressed and quietly carried in her heart. This private grief was overshadowed by the glare of cameras, but it remained one of the unspoken wounds in her story. Then came 2009, the year everything fell apart. Her marriage to John collapsed in front of the world's eyes. Tabloid headlines swirled with rumors. John linked to a younger woman, Deanna Hummel, which he later admitted, and Kate battling whispers of her own alleged affair with her bodyguard, allegations she strongly denied. The divorce was messy, bitter, and played out like a soap opera for the masses. The couple traded accusations in televised interviews, turning their split into one of the most sensationalized breakups in reality TV history. But divorce was only the beginning. Years later, in 2022, Kate tried to sue John for back child support, claiming he owed her more than $132,000. The court, however, rejected her case, ruling that she had not provided enough proof of their agreement's terms. To make matters worse, John countered with accusations of his own, suggesting that Kate had taken money from their children's trust funds, an allegation that only deepened the cloud of controversy surrounding her. The darkest chapter, however, comes not from tabloids or legal filings, but from within her own family. Colin, one of the sextuplets, came forward with harrowing claims about his childhood. He alleged that he was institutionalized not because of his behavior, but because he tried to speak up about abuse. His accounts included being isolated, tied down, locked in rooms, and even monitored by cameras. These revelations shocked the public, raising troubling questions about what life was really like for the Gosselin children once the cameras were gone. Kate's lawyer has strongly denied that she ever intentionally harmed Colin, but the accusations have left a lasting mark. To many, her story now feels like a tragedy. A woman who once represented strength and control, now struggling with a legacy shadowed by mistrust, fractured relationships, and whispers of what really happened behind closed doors. Her name still lingers in the public imagination, but not as it once did. So, do you think Kate Gosselin could bounce back after this heartbreaking tragedy? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.